Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this game of Hearts of Iron 4. This is Kaiserreich, or more specifically, this is the Kaiserreich Weekly Tournament, which is a yearly event that the Kaiserreich Weekly multiplayer group puts on. There are a lot of teams participating. There are 4 preliminary games, each of those with 4 teams. So there are a grand total of 16 teams. These are the preliminaries. I am currently streaming for Game 4, and we will do a proper introduction of all of the players in just a moment. However, there is then going to be the final next week, where the top 4 teams from those preliminaries will face off against each other, and there are actually prizes. So this is very much now an esport, which is really, really cool. I'd never really expected to see grand strategy games becoming an esport. So, yes! Alright, so what are the different teams? Well, the 4 factions are the Co-Prosperity Sphere, the Third Internationale, the Reichspakt, and the Entente. The Co-Prosperity Sphere is the Estrategas al Carrer, who were the victors last year, so I am expecting really good things from that team, although the other 3 teams do realise who these guys are, so they may well have some meddling going on in the background to go and deal with that. In Japan, we have got Bertus. In Russia, we have got Antharath. In Fentiang, we have a random casual player. In Siam, we have got Fabian, and then in Indochina, currently playing as German East Asia, but I think that he splits away, is Blaze, and then joins the Third Internationale. So, very big naval capacity between Japan and Indochina. Russia obviously brings the manpower. Fentiang brings the cause, which will allow them potentially to go after China proper. I am very curious to see if anyone else tries to stop them doing that. Then in the Third Internationale, we have the dudes in canoes. Running the Commune of France, we have the French Baguette. In the Union of Britain, we've got E-Man. And then in the Socialist Republic of Italy, we have Mazdo. They are waiting for one more player, which is the Spanish Empress, either playing in Switzerland, Ireland, or Spain. I'm not sure which one exactly. Then we've got the Reichspakt. Oh, here we go. This is another player. So while we're waiting for that player to hot join, the way it works is there is a faction leader for every faction, there is a major for every faction, 2 important minors, and then they have a choice for the minor between 2 countries. So for the Co-Prosperity Sphere, it's a choice between Indochina and the Philippines. Estrategas chose Indochina. Then the Third Internationale have Switzerland or Ireland, and we don't know which one they have selected. Reichspakt have either Poland or Sweden, and the Reichspakt have chosen Sweden. And then the Entente have a choice between Australasia and Sardinia, and the Entente here have chosen Australasia. And we were talking a little bit about the pros and cons of each of those choices during the test game yesterday. Didn't really come to any conclusions. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see exactly what each of those players brings to the table and what they can do to affect the game. I'm very curious who Empress of France is going to play. My money is on Spain. I'm guessing Spain. And it's a good thing that she got in pretty quickly. And who are you going to choose? Empress of France chose Spain. Okay, added. So we are now just missing a Switzerland or an Ireland. So we are only 1 player down. Okay, so while we are back into the game now, let's go and continue the introduction. So we have the Reichspakt, which is the GGN team. They are helmed by Tyrant in Germany. Then we have Helmet Guy in Austria, forming hopefully Austria-Hungary. In the Ukraine, we have the General John. And then Bulgaria, probably my favourite name in this entire game thus far, the Dutch Englishman. And then in Sweden, they have chosen Sweden rather than Poland, we have DWK. Then the fourth faction in this game are the Entente, very ably led by Mackenzie King, and also very properly led by Mackenzie King. That's an appropriate name. That's what I'm trying to say. Then in the USA, we have Is Only Game. In the Dominion of India, we have Volt Jumper. National France, we have Roars, and then they have opted for Australasia rather than Sardinia, and we have got Flameshot. So every faction has their 5 players, with the exception of the Third International, who is missing 1 player, which is just their minor. So a minor problem, hopefully. In the meantime, the game has now unpaused, so we are going to be able to take a snoop around to take a look at what focuses people have started on. So, the Union of Britain, unsurprisingly, going for the Congress of Trade Unions. Then in Germany, imperial restructuring, so that's going to be a bit of political power, which will lead to their political build-up stuff. Very little industry so far. That's interesting. France has gone for the direction of the economy, so that is breaking with that straight away. Accessing the army in the SRI. Guys! President Kerensky's been shot. Oh no. How barbaric. And for FYI, I will not be reading everything going on. So Kononov storms Moscow. That is a different path than I would usually choose. They have not gone for Wrangel. Kononov-Savinkov alliance. Which gives them base stability, gives them Savinkov, who is National Populist. So they are going to go for the state. Meanwhile, the Alash Autonomy has declared independence. Let's just go back. Actually, no, I'm going to stick with the player overview so I can actually see who the players are. If you guys have any questions about nations, what they're doing, etc., then please do ask. Bearing in mind, I am not allowed to show you what they are producing, and I cannot show you their templates. I can show you their focuses, I can show you their economy, I can show you their navies, but I can't show you the templates. And I can't show you what they're producing. So, no clicking on this button. This button's okay. This button, not allowed. Yes, Spain joined right before the issue started. So the only thing that we are missing now is a Switzerland or... Why do I keep forgetting what the other choice was? Oh, is it happening again? It's so weird that chat is like a full minute behind me. Because I see you guys saying stuff in chat and then I'm like looking at the overview and everything's completely stable. This is so strange. Or you... Oh, okay, you're not talking about my internet. You are talking about Kerensky. This is weird. This is weird. Payments of Brest-Litovsk reparations. Russia's losing stability. Okay, I don't actually want to be focusing entirely on Russia. Let's go to that mighty nation of Bhutan so that we can be clicking around and getting less information. What's DWK doing? So, Sweden is going for the issues at hand. So, preparing for their political things. Now, one thing which I myself am a little bit curious about is Poland, except I can't actually see anything in Poland because they're not the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Austria is asking for military access into Sweden. There are no wars yet that we can take a look at and talk about as yet. One of the first things to erupt will be League of Eight Provinces going to war with Nanjing. Can I show you research? Yes. Though I think I'm going to be careful about when I show research, because you can get a lot of information from research. Like, I do need to be fair to the players and not show you too much. Ireland! It's Switzerland or Ireland. So here's a good question for you, chat. Out of the Crow Prosperity Sphere minors, which would you pick if you were in charge of the Third International? Would you pick Switzerland or would you pick Ireland, and why? Who is the USA player joining? The USA is joining the Entente. So again, the American Civil War is going to be another interesting occurrence because I'm very curious to see if anyone tries to intervene. Like, I'm not really expecting Co-Prosperity Sphere team to do so because they are fairly au fait on the Kaiserreich Weekly meta, I believe. But some of the other teams might not be, and they might well decide to do some interventions. Why the long day? Why the long delay? To prevent stream sniping, or at least cut it down. So the players are a minute ahead of where I am, effectively, and what I'm telling you. So if anyone is being really naughty and stream sniping, and we are looking out for that, then they would get less information, less useful information. Austrian Empire is withdrawn from Italy. Oh dear. And Italy is still an NPC. One of the things which the Socialist Republic of Italy is allowed to do is they are allowed to go for unification before the Weltkrieg begins. So we might well see Italy going after the two Sicilies or the Italian Republic, and this could actually be one reason to bring a player in as Sardinia. And actually, I'm a little bit surprised that the choice there is Sardinia versus Australasia as opposed to Sardinia versus two Sicilies. In the same way that the Co-Prosperity Sphere can steal a vassal from Germany by having German East Asia become Indochina, maybe the Reichspakt should be allowed to steal a potential section from the SRI. Maybe that would be too powerful. I don't know. Switzerland, because you can use it as a door to Germany. Ireland for the research bonus. Switzerland, because I love chocolate. Ireland faces a lot of bombing from Britain. Well, Ireland would be on Britain's side. Remember, that's in Third International. And one thing which Third International could do with is a bit more industry, and Ireland brings that industry. Ireland is like one of the most capable of building really tall countries. They'll have manpower issues, but their industry is ridiculous. And one thing which the Union of Britain and the Commune of France don't really lack for is manpower. So if you have Ireland just pumping out Lend-Leases and sending them to one of those two, then that could be really potent. Of course, you would then need to worry about controlling the seas against the Reichspakt or against the Entente, which is going to be a bit more of a challenge. Although if you're just shipping stuff across the English Channel, because the English Channel is shallow water, submarines are less of a problem. Ireland, because you have boats. Ireland, because Switzerland opens up more of a front. It's worth being Dominion of India when the war with Afghanistan happens to see if they get full conquest. True. And Dominion of India might actually try to delay the war against Afghanistan so they can get war economy. That is apparently another thing which can happen. Okay, we're back in. Afghanistan. Dominion of India. Are you getting any support from anybody else? They are getting Lend-Leases from basically everyone. They are sending precisely 2 items so that they actually get the bonus from the Lend-Lease. Most of them are getting convoys, in fact. Basically, everybody is sending the Dominion of India convoys, most likely anticipating that they're going to need a lot of Lend-Leases in the future. Doesn't look like anyone's sending any soldiers, at least not yet. And it doesn't look like India's being too aggressive in pursuing this war. Also doesn't look like they're using front lines, which I think is a mistake. Because even if you're not going to use the front lines yourself, you can at least get the planning preparation. Gallo seizes control of Ecuador. Oh dear. And then over in China. So let's take a look at Nanjing clique. Nanjing clique are currently getting independence guarantee. Hello.
Mode bugs after the resync.
Sorry?
You're like mode bugged after the resync?
No, I'm fine.
Cool.
I think someone popped me out of Observer, which probably fixed it. I didn't even know that was a thing you could do. But yeah, mine's totally fine. Okay, so
Yeah,
oh dear.
Because of the observer bug, it seems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have to completely disallow resyncs, it seems.
Right. Okay, so another rejoin. I like the China update. Tried Nanjing, Shanqing, left KMT, right KMT, Yunnan Federalists, and Linguang, and several Qing options. Qing was interesting. My favourite... No, you know what? My favourite... It's got to be German East Asia. I really liked German East Asia, and I really liked League of Eight Provinces. If you haven't played League of Eight Provinces, they're an interesting one. Because the more you pander to Germany, the stronger your industry gets, but also the more influence over you they have. It's an interesting balance to maintain. How are the Nordic countries in Kaiserreich? I don't think I've seen any of them since I started watching Mordred. Kind of boring. Finland was a massive disappointment. Because they have humongous manpower issues, they basically can't do anything. If Finland got a couple of unique focuses which increase their manpower, then they would be a lot more playable and a lot more interesting. Denmark I've not played. Norway, have I played Norway? I feel like I have. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed by the Scandinavians. I have not played as Iceland either. Another interesting one is Two Sicilies. I really liked the Two Sicilies. Because you got the looming threat of the Socialist Republic of Italy, and the Two Sicilies have got probably the best naval potential in the game. Like, Two Sicilies navy is outrageous. Which is why I'm kind of like, maybe the Entente should have a choice between Two Sicilies and Australasia, as opposed to Australasia and Sardinia. Like, Sardinia's interesting. They start with a surprisingly large navy. Like, if we just pop over to Sardinia now and take a look. Like, they start with a lot of ships, including several capitals, and they have a lot of potential to build more. But when you compare that to the Two Sicilies, naval stuff going on, like, their naval tree is enormous. It's huge. You've got loads of stuff going on. Especially in terms of like building more dockyards and getting ship bonuses like this one. Like construction speed for dockyards, naval equipment refitting speed, repair speed. Like the bonuses are insane. Two Sicilies are a lot of fun if you want to do a high navy game. And you do also get a lot of boats to play with. Like you are the shipyard of Europe. That's what you are called. Let me just go back to my Discord and then go to that. Okay, we're good. So, we wanted to take a look to see if the Chinese factions were being supported by anyone. So let's go and take a look at Nanjing. Kingdom of Spain has sent reinforcements to Nanjing, which is an interesting choice. Probably going for the experience rather than directly trying to assist them. Anqing, meanwhile... In fact, the easiest way, Billy, is to just click on them. Go to Anqing. Anqing have Russia, Japan, Qing, and Siam all supporting Anqing. So clearly the Co-Prosperity Sphere is fighting pretty hard for Anqing to win this. And I think that's because Anqing has a focus where they basically unite with Fentieng. So that makes a lot of sense. And then down here in the south we have the Left Commandant, which is being supported by the Union of Britain, Commune of France, and Baratia. So yes, we are actually seeing a lot of volunteers coming in. That's really cool. And such a big difference from the previous games. Unfortunately, the Spaniards cut off. So the Spanish intervention is short, shall we say, because that is basically an immediate cut-off. Some of the Qing government units have managed to catch them kind of sleeping. It's interesting that Qing's supporting them so hard as well. Why would Qing be supporting them? Can Anqing choose to go pro-Qing or pro-Fentieng? Is that one of the possibilities? I Mordred haven't seen a tournament before. Who decides who goes through to the next round? The admins do, but generally there's a victor because there is a scoring system. And if someone wants to do ! Scores, you can see what the players are fighting over. There are various victory points throughout the world. For example, the capitals of the majors, the minors, and the important minors. And also various strategic positions like Suez. And all of those give victory points. Indochina's path for finding out about Ho Chi Minh is one of the very best bits of writing in the entire modern. The Ottoman investigation is better. You feel like you're driving the Ho Chi Minh thing more. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll have to try that. However, this is a good start for Nanjing because they did not get attacked by Shandong. Like, having played as League of Eight Provinces, defending against these two is possible. Defending against all three is basically impossible. So this is the best possible situation for Anqing. Now, is Anqing being supported by Germany? Germany has a massive vested interest in supporting them. And no, this is not Anqing. Nanjing. Nanjing's who I'm trying to click on. Nanjing is being supported by Spain and the Ukraine, but not Germany. Why? This is so in Germany's interests. Because Germany gets bonuses the more influence they get over Nanjing. Oh, looks like we've got a bit of a cut-off coming here. Oh, nope, they've just been cut off. This is actually a pretty interesting war of maneuver, with a lot of units being cut off and then cutting others off. It does look like Nanjing is being a little bit outnumbered right now, with a lot of different things going on. Assigning like 4 full divisions to take out that 1 cavalry, 3 divisions to take out that 1 infantry. Not exactly assigning units in the best possible way. Meanwhile, here in Nanjing, which is probably the most interesting to look at because I have the most volunteers, we can see down here we have Siam probably trying to drive across the coast to try and secure the northern sector. Then we have got Russia trying to pin this unit to stop him going north. And Afghanistan's just fallen. Left Kuomintang has just declared war on Anqing. Meanwhile, Nanjing has been cut off. And, ooh, Dominion of India took Afghanistan completely. So Dominion of India is going to be fairly substantially bigger because of that. That's an extra 3 factories, which early on is a pretty big deal. What is Germany doing? That's a good question. What is Germany doing? Germany is organising the youth, trying to get an extra 25,000 manpower. That's probably why they've not sent any volunteers, because they ain't got no manpower to send. Although that's no excuse. Nanjing needs your help, Germany. So who is supporting left Kuomintang? Still those 3. Interesting the Bharati is getting involved. Meanwhile, in... Why do you keep selecting Anqing? This is not Anqing, it's Nanjing. There we go. Oh, because this bit's Anqing. It's been taken by Nanjing. And how close is Nanjing to capitulation? Not hugely. Most likely because they still control Nanjing. Although they're getting horribly cut off. Like, look, they're just being completely just taken apart. So I think that Nanjing is a non-factor, and I think that's going to be on the back of that Spanish volunteer being cut off straight away, and then also the fact that Germany has not gotten involved. I think maybe part of the reason there is because Germany is going to lose German East Asia to the co-prosperity sphere, because German East Asia will become Indochina. They have to. It's a co-prosperity sphere player. So they may feel like there's less of a vested interest to keep Nanjing alive, because Nanjing directly improves German East Asia and vice versa. These two have a symbiotic relationship, and without one of them, then the other becomes less important. So, oh dear. This is going to become a real thing about taking... it's going to be Anqing versus left Kuomintang. And really the struggle going on here is going to be about who has more territory. Is there anything that observers should do for the rehosts?
It seems to be a big bug that all the observers are just crashing.
Okay.
Are you in observer
Whenever
mode?
there's a resync, etc. Did you have the issue now, Mordred?
I don't know. No, I'm fine.
Alright.
Are you actually observer so you can select nations?
Yes.
1-2, how are you doing?
I
bug,
crashed.
bug?
I crashed fully.
Alright, I'll just start and we'll see what happens. Ooh, this doesn't look good.
Alright, so it seems that at least Mordred is free from, like, this curse.
Because what I've noticed is when players join, I get kicked out of whatever country I was looking at. I just go blank.
Right.
Yeah, that's the bug.
Okay.
But you're able to reselect a nation after that, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering if when you get kicked out, if we should be control-clicking on a nation so that we always have one selected.
I mean, I was I had a nation selected, like, when it started.
Oh, okay.
I'm Transamar now, so I need to make sure I don't do anything fucked up here.
Yeah, I can still move around freely.
I can't anymore.
Yeah, well, you can see quite a bit, at least from Transmore anyway, so...
Yep. Should I tell CoPro that I'm not going to do anything crazy?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, I might have to observe a thing or two for you, Mordred. You might get a DM.
Yeah,
Maybe.
no problem. Okay, back to my streamer channel. So clearly we're having really big issues with observer mode. So you'll just need to bear with us during this, and I will need to give information as and when it's requested. So I'm just going to make sure that I have my phone on, so that I can get those DMs if and when they arrive. Except for the fact that my phone interferes with my microphone. I can hear it in my headset. I don't know if you guys can too. Okay, so meanwhile, in China, we can see another Nanjing unit being cut off. Where's Nanjing itself? There. So they're currently fighting for Nanjing. They do have 3 units in there, including 1 unit of Spanish Mountaineers, which again, this is what you need to do. Stick the volunteer units in the big cities, and then you can really radically reduce the chances of those cities falling. And it makes a massive difference. So it looks like Nanjing is now being pushed into just this quadrant, which is a good thing for them, because now they don't need to try and defend this. Like, they can't. There's no point even attempting to. Although they do still have 3 men down there. Yeah. As soon as the war starts, you kind of want to abandon this area and just try and hold your flank out here. Because this is also where the industry is. Alright, let's take a look at Nanjing. So attack is still going in the north. They have managed to secure most of the northern border. They have got a cut-off here. So this sector is now cut off, although there are still some ports here. So these Nanjing units could retreat if they wanted to. But that's AI, so less likely. Meanwhile, Nanjing still being attacked. The Spanish are attacking out of the city across a river, which seems to me like a bit of a bad idea. Although they were successfully doing it. I think that I would just stand there and just help Nanjing hold. Because Nanjing has more industry, they have more manpower. Ultimately, if they do a war of attrition, they will win. Unless, of course, your opponents are heavily lend-leasing. But part of the issue is Nanjing has no ports. They can't get lend-leases from the Third Internationale until Rugao falls. If Rugao and Nantong fall, then Nanjing is suddenly going to get a lot more powerful. There we go. Siam has just taken the port. Now supplies can start to flow in. I'm kind of curious about this. Are any of these factions getting lend-leases? So if we take a quick look at Nanjing. Nanjing are not getting lend-leases. They're still being supported by Ukraine and Spain. Left Commandant are getting volunteers but no lend-leases. And then Nanjing are getting loads of volunteers, but still no lend-leases. So it doesn't look like any of the player factions are too willing to send resources to the AIs, which isn't a surprise. I know that a lot of players do try to shy away from that because they don't feel like the AI makes very good use of those items. But then again, it means more boots on the ground. Early on, you don't need the guns as much. I probably would do it myself, but that's just me. What are the players in China? Are they all computer controlled? Everyone's computer controlled with the exception of Fentiang. Fentiang's the only Chinese player. But Fentiang is not involved in this kerfuffle. And then soon enough, we will also have Lingguang clique having their own civil war. And then Nanjing is going to be fighting against Left Kuomintang, and in fact Left Kuomintang seems to be launching a bit of an offensive.